Bringing a child into this world means giving them a reality you cannot manage for them. Their future is not yours to control. Their challenges, their hardships, their unpredictable collisions with the cruelty of existence, you can't stop any of it. People talk about the beauty of creation, but they never talk about the fine print. You are giving someone a lifetime of risks they never agreed to. Because the truth is, once a child enters existence, you hand them every possibility of suffering that the world contains. Not just illness, not just cancer, so many other things you can't prevent, can't predict, can't negotiate with. What if they're born with a disability that makes every day a struggle you can't understand? What if they grow up with chronic pain, the kind that medicine can't fix and doctors can't explain? What if trauma finds them early and keeps following them for decades? You can give a child love, food, shelter, but you cannot give them immunity from suffering. And that's the part people always avoid. They talk about the panic attacks your child might have at 3 a.m. for reasons they can't explain, the pressure of expectations that suffocates them, the possibility of losing you too early, the world becoming harsher by the time they grow up. And the harshest part, you can't shield them from the world you brought them into. You can't stop a diagnosis. You can't stop an accident. You can't stop the world from hurting them in ways you never imagined. Life is unpredictable, indifferent, and merciless, but once you create a child, they're forced to live inside that indifference. Parents imagine the best-case scenario, but existence doesn't run on dreams, it runs on randomness. Birth is not just giving them a chance at happiness. It's also giving them the chance to suffer abuse, the chance to face financial misery, the chance to collapse under pressure, the chance to fear their future, the chance to wake up every day questioning their purpose. You're not just handing them life, you're handing them everything that comes with life, even the things you wish didn't exist. And maybe that's the terrifying truth behind the gift of life. You're not giving them certainty or safety or protection. You're giving them a world that can hurt them in 1,000 different ways and hoping they somehow make it through. Imagine the arrogance, creating someone else and then expecting them to thank you for the suffering they must now endure. Gratitude for what? For bills? For anxiety? For social pressure? For heartbreak? For illness? For mourning the people you love? For the constant threat of pain lurking in every day you're alive? You didn't ask for life, you didn't sign a contract, you didn't agree to the terms and conditions, but you're forced to play the game anyway. A game designed so that nobody wins in the end. The first breath you ever took was a cry of panic, a silent scream from a being dragged into a world it didn't understand. That cry wasn't some cute baby moment. It was your body realizing something terrible. I am no longer safe. And ever since that moment, you have been trying to cope with the shock of existing. Some people never recover from it. Some break quietly. Some pretend to be strong. Some carry their pain like a secret. Some drown under the weight of expectations. Some collapse long before their bodies die. But all of them suffer. Every single one. Because being alive means being vulnerable to everything. Time, chance, biology, gravity, death, betrayal, heartbreak, identity, loneliness, mental breakdowns, illnesses that appear out of nowhere, and a universe that does not care whether you make it through the night. You weren't born into safety. You were born into a battlefield where the enemy is everything, the world, other people, and your own mind. And that mind, the one you never asked to have, becomes your lifelong prison. Thoughts you didn't choose, emotions you can't control, fears you can't avoid, memories you can't erase, regrets that haunt you, desires that torture you. The body breaks, but the mind breaks slower and in more creative ways. Anxiety, depression, overthinking, dissociation, identity crisis, loneliness that feels like suffocating. The mind is a labyrinth, and most people spend their whole life trying to find an exit that doesn't exist. And for what? For the privilege of existing? For the privilege of pain? People say, life is beautiful. But how much beauty does a person have to endure before life punishes them again? Every bright moment is temporary. Every smile has an expiration date. Every joy has a shadow attached to it. Every dream has a cost. Everything you love becomes something that can one day be taken from you and eventually will be. That is the fine print nobody reads before giving birth. And yet parents create children anyway. They romanticize the idea of family while ignoring the consequences. Nobody creates a child for the child's benefit. They create it for their own emotional needs. To feel important, to feel complete, to feel purposeful. But a child is not a solution. A child is not a cure. A child is not an emotional bandage for a wounded adult. A child is a future sufferer, a future adult who will one day sit with their head in their hands asking, why was I forced into this? And there is no answer because existence is not a gift. Existence is exposure. Exposure to a world designed to break everything in it. Exposure to pain that arrives without warning. Exposure to rejection. Exposure to aging. Exposure to illness. Exposure to loss. Exposure to the terrifying awareness that nothing lasts. Not joy, not comfort, not relationships, not even you. And the universe? It doesn't care. It has never cared. It expands in darkness while you shrink under the weight of your problems. Stars explode, galaxies collide, time devours everything, and yet humans think bringing another consciousness into this cosmic machinery is a good idea. They think they are doing something noble. But what is noble about creating someone who will cry, panic, fear, break, bleed, love, lose, and die? Let's be brutally honest. The only reason you are alive is because someone else wanted you, and now you must pay for their desire with your entire existence. And that is the part people refuse to confront. Because if they confronted, they would have to admit something horrifying. Birth is not creation, it is imposition. Birth is not love, it is interruption. Birth is not a blessing, it is an irreversible act with irreversible consequences. If you were never born, you would have lost absolutely nothing. No dreams, no heartbreak, no fears, no trauma, no pressure, no guilt, no loneliness, no failure, no self-doubt, no anxiety, no identity crisis, no death. You would have been free, truly free, in the only way a consciousness can ever be. Because the most peaceful version of you was the one that didn't exist. Birth didn't give you anything except the opportunity to suffer. Everything beautiful you will ever experience comes with a knife hidden behind it. Every person you love becomes someone the universe will eventually take away. Every goal you chase becomes a weight tied to your chest. Every joy becomes a memory, and every memory becomes a wound. Everything ends. Everything collapses. Everything breaks, and one day you will too. The universe will return you to the nothingness you came from, but not before forcing you to endure the chaos, confusion, and cruelty of being alive. And that's the real tragedy. You will end exactly where you began, except now you carry the burden of everything you felt. Existence is not a miracle. Existence is a defect, a glitch, a painful interruption of silence. And the ones who created you call it love. The moment you are born, the world doesn't embrace you, it claims you, like property, like a resource, like fuel. Nobody says it out loud, but every system you enter is designed to extract something from you. Your childhood, your energy, your dreams, your labor, your identity. The world harvests it all. You're not here to live, you're here to be used. Think about how quickly innocence is taken from a child, not stolen violently, stolen quietly. Children don't understand society, but society understands children perfectly. It knows how to shape them, it knows how to break them, it knows how to mold them into predictable, manageable, obedient adults. Childhood isn't freedom, it's grooming. Grooming for the life you never asked for. Grooming for the expectations that will choke you. Grooming for the rules you must follow to avoid being socially killed. You don't grow into who you are, you grow into who the world demands. Before you even understand your name, the world assigns you roles, male or female, useful or useless, strong or weak, normal or problem. Your parents give you their beliefs, your culture gives you its rules, your religion gives you its fears, your school gives you its standards, your society gives you its judgment. By the time you realize none of it was your choice, it's already too late. The system has shaped you to fit its needs, not your truth. But let's go deeper, because the horror is bigger than society. You were not born free. You were born owned. Owned by biology, owned by instincts you didn't choose, owned by emotions you can't control, owned by a brain that evolved for survival, not happiness. You are controlled by hunger, fear, pain, desire, hormones, impulses, attachments. You think you're making choices, but most choices you make are biological reactions disguised as decisions. You don't fall in love, your chemistry traps you. You don't want success, your survival instinct threatens you with worthlessness. You don't dream big, your brain pressures you to compete. Your mind is not your friend, it's your handler. And while biology controls your internal world, society controls your external world. From day one, you are fed a script. Go to school, follow rules, get grades, pick a career. Don't dream too wild, don't question too loudly, don't feel too deeply. Don't fall behind, don't stop working, don't fail, don't rest. You think you're living your life, but you're actually performing a life someone else designed centuries before you were born. And the sickest part, everyone acts like this is normal. Then comes the emotional trap, the lie of relationships. You are told family means protection, but families are often the first place you learn fear, the first place you feel judgment, the first place you learn to silence your own emotions to avoid disappointing someone. People say parents love their children, but most parents want control, not understanding, approval, not individuality, obedience, not expression. You become the version of yourself that keeps other people comfortable, not the one that makes you whole. You start hiding your pain. You start hiding your thoughts. You start hiding your true self. By adulthood, most people are nothing but masks wearing skin. Now add society's pressure on top of this. You must look a certain way. You must act a certain way. You must earn a certain amount. You must achieve at a certain pace. You must be happy, but not too happy. You must be confident, but not too confident. You must be different, but not too different. Everything about society is a trap of contradictions. No matter what you do, you'll disappoint someone, including yourself. But here's the darkest truth. The system is not broken. It was built this way. The world feeds on humans the way humans feed on animals, quietly, systematically, and without guilt. Nobody forces you to suffer. The system simply gives you no other choice. You become an adult and suddenly the world turns into bills, duties, deadlines, constant anxiety, aging, regret, responsibility, and the pressure to pretend everything is fine. You wake up tired. You live tired. You sleep tired. Not because you're weak, but because the world drains you faster than you can recover. You think people burn out at 30 because they're lazy? No, they burn out because they've been fighting since childhood. And then comes the most disturbing layer, the universe itself. You are a microscopic accident on a rock floating through a void that does not think, care, love, or pity. The universe didn't create you intentionally. You are a chemical collision pretending to have a purpose. You are a tiny blip in cosmic randomness trying to make sense of chaos far bigger than your brain can handle. And the universe is so indifferent that if the entire human species disappeared tomorrow, nothing would change. The stars wouldn't dim. The galaxies wouldn't pause. Time wouldn't hesitate. The universe wouldn't even notice. You were living in a reality that expects everything from you while giving you nothing permanent in return. So what are children really? They're not miracles. They're not blessings. They're not hopes for the future. They are new sources of labor, new subjects for society to shape, new carriers of trauma, new targets for marketing, new fuel for the economy, new future consumers, workers, taxpayers, believers. The world doesn't need children for love. It needs children for continuation of systems. Children become adults, adults become workers, workers become tools, tools get replaced. That is the life cycle. Not the poetic one in books, but the real one nobody wants to talk about. And the cruelest part? Through all of this, you're expected to be grateful. Grateful for being alive, grateful for being used, grateful for being exhausted, grateful for responsibilities you didn't choose, grateful for a world that would replace you in a second. You didn't choose life, life chose you because someone wanted something from you. And that is the quiet tragedy nobody admits. You were never raised to live, you were raised to contribute, to function, to obey, to survive, not to be free. The world does not nurture humans, the world harvests them. A newborn doesn't arrive into an empty world. They fall into a landscape already cracked by generations before them. They inherit an environment shaped by people who learn to survive their own fears, mistakes, and unresolved emotions. A child doesn't begin at zero. They begin at the point where everyone else left off. And that starting point is rarely peaceful. A child steps into a society designed long before they existed. A society that demands performance from the moment they can walk. They're measured before they understand measurement. They're compared before they know comparison. They're placed into systems that care more about order than individuality. Schools decide how capable they are before they even understand themselves. Expectations settle on their shoulders early, long before they're strong enough to carry them. The child doesn't get to discover the world organically. The world introduces itself through pressure. They learn quickly that approval is conditional. They realize silence is safer than honesty. They understand that mistakes aren't lessons, they're punishments. They grow up navigating rules written by people who barely understand their own lives. Everything becomes a test: behavior, intelligence, appearance, obedience. A child learns the world not through wonder, but through correction. Even family, the supposed safe zone, comes with its own traps. Adults unconsciously hand children their own worries. A child absorbs disappointment they didn't cause. They internalize fears that aren't theirs. They pick up messages hidden in tone, in conflict, in expectations, spoken and unspoken. Children often carry emotional weight that belonged to someone else. They learn to adjust themselves to maintain peace in a home they didn't build. This is one of the most painful antinatalist truths. A child is shaped by wounds that existed before them, an inheritance that isn't made of money or land, but of patterns, unresolved stress, social tension, cultural anxiety, family pressure, generational trauma. None of it is chosen. All of it is absorbed. Every adult wants to believe they're giving a child the best, but even the calmest homes carry invisible fractures. Humans don't enter parenting healed. They enter parenting while still figuring themselves out. Children grow within the emotional architecture of adults who are still repairing their own foundation. And beyond the home, the outside world adds another layer of burden. Society teaches competition before compassion, achievement before self-understanding, survival before reflection. A child grows up in a world where success is praised, but mental balance is ignored. They're expected to be emotionally intelligent while surrounded by adults who never learned emotional literacy themselves. There's no manual for identity, no clear map for meaning. Children stumble into adolescence carrying confusion that no one prepared them for. They must figure out who they are while everyone else keeps telling them who they should be. That conflict between self and expectation becomes one of the earliest existential battles a person faces. As they grow older, they begin to understand the truth. The world is not designed around human well-being. It's designed around momentum. Everything moves fast, faster than emotions develop, faster than understanding forms, faster than minds adapt. Children are thrust into a pace that adults struggle with, but they're given even less time to make sense of it. They face demands rooted in a world shaped by economic pressure, social comparison, and cultural image. Even their happiness becomes something to display, something to prove, something to achieve. Childhood innocence has no room to breathe in a society built on performance. This is the existential weight no one talks about. A child doesn't simply grow up. They adapt to environments they didn't design. They build themselves around expectations they never agreed to. They learn reality not through freedom, but through limitation. Antinatalism doesn't argue that children are weak, it argues that the world they're born into is already too heavy. That existence demands emotional stamina before emotional understanding. That consciousness awakens long before a person learns how to handle the weight of being aware. Children don't suffer because life is cruel, they struggle because life is complex. And humans are not born with built-in clarity. They have to assemble themselves in real time, using pieces that don't fit together, guided by people who learned through the same confusion. A child is not harmed by existence. They are overwhelmed by the responsibility that comes with simply being conscious. The responsibility to figure out who they are, what they want, how to navigate conflict, how to manage emotion, how to survive pressure, how to build identity, how to exist without falling apart. These are monumental tasks, and every human is forced to attempt them. Not by choice, but by birth. This is the dark truth people resist. Parenting creates life, but society shapes it. And neither is simple. The child doesn't enter an empty stage, they enter a maze built by countless people who were lost themselves. And every new child must walk that maze from the beginning with no guarantee that they'll find meaning, stability, or even themselves. Growing older is not a gentle progression, it is an increasing awareness that the world is far more complicated than any childhood explanation prepared you for. Every year reveals another layer of reality that was previously hidden behind the simplicity of youth. People rarely speak about how overwhelming this shift is because admitting it means acknowledging that adulthood is not a stage of mastery, it is a stage of exposure. The more you see, the more you understand how fragile everything really is. The first shock comes when you realize that certainty was an illusion. Nothing in life stays stable. People change, situations twist, circumstances break open without warning. Adults spend their entire lives pretending they know what they're doing, but beneath their routines is the same confusion they felt as children, only buried under responsibilities they can't escape. A young person grows into an adult who inherits the complexity of a world that was always improvising. There is no manual for living. Everyone just imitates the generation before them, hoping not to collapse under pressure. Financial survival enters the picture early, not as a choice, but as a demand. Bills, deadlines, goals, competition, all of it arrives like a storm, and you are expected to learn how to swim while already in the water. Society rewards those who adapt quickly and labels the rest as failures, even though the rules were never explained clearly to anyone. The world prioritizes productivity over understanding. People end up chasing stability without ever feeling secure because the structures around them shift constantly. A job is not guaranteed, income is not permanent, safety is conditional. Life does not provide instructions for how to emotionally absorb this instability. Relationships become another realm of complexity. Everyone grows at different speeds, carries different fears, and interprets the world through the lens shaped by their past. Misunderstandings don't happen because people are flawed, they happen because humans see things differently based on what they've lived through. You learn quickly that connection is fragile and miscommunication is common. Trust becomes something you build carefully, knowing it can dissolve through a single mistake or a moment of emotional distance. Bonds give warmth, but they also come with uncertainty. People can walk away, drift apart, or change directions without warning. Identity is the quiet battle nobody sees. You're expected to understand who you are, yet identity is fluid. It reshapes itself as you learn more about your environment, your values, your limits, your desires. No one prepares you for the disorientation of outgrowing versions of yourself that once felt natural. You carry the weight of expectations from family, culture, peers, and society, trying to carve out a sense of self that satisfies all these influences while still feeling authentic. It's an impossible task, because identity isn't something you choose once, it's something that evolves, often faster than you can process. The emotional world grows heavier as you age. You begin to notice the burden that other people hide, stress behind smiles, fear behind confidence, sadness behind achievement. It becomes clear that suffering is not rare, it is widespread and mostly unspoken. People carry internal storms while acting like they're fine. You join this performance not because you want to, but because the world punishes vulnerability. Society teaches you to function efficiently even when you're overwhelmed. The world does not pause for your emotional processing. It expects you to keep up regardless of how unprepared you feel. Loss becomes a teacher you never asked for. Friendships fade. Opportunities disappear. People you depend on become distant. Plans collapse. Dreams change direction. Nothing stays untouched. Life forces you to adapt to absence, to adjust to emptiness, to rebuild from situations that dismantled what you believed was stable. This experience shapes everyone, yet no one speaks about it openly. Loss becomes a private emotion, even though it is universal. The most difficult realization arrives when you understand that humans are temporary creatures in a vast system that does not revolve around their comfort. Nature does not bend itself to human concerns. Time does not pause for reflection. Circumstances do not wait for you to be ready. The world continues moving regardless of how overwhelmed you feel. This awareness is not meant to harm, it is simply the structural truth of reality. Existence unfolds on its own schedule, not the one humans wish for. With all this complexity, every person eventually faces the question of meaning. Not in a dramatic way, but in quiet moments. What is the point of all this effort? Do these struggles lead anywhere? Is there something stable behind all this movement? The answer isn't given. It has to be created. Humans construct meaning because meaning is not handed to them. Some find it in connection, some in creativity, some in ambition, some in understanding, some in responsibility. Meaning becomes a personal decision, not a universal rule. This is the core of the anti-natalist argument. Not that life is darkness, but that life arrives without preparation. Existence places immense demands on a person before they are strong enough to handle them. A child grows into an adult who must navigate uncertainty, responsibility, identity, loss, pressure, and self-awareness, none of which they volunteered for. These are not punishments, they are realities. And the weight of these realities often hits long before anyone feels ready. But human resilience is the counterweight. People learn, they adjust, they rise after collapsing, they figure out new paths when old ones fall apart, they rebuild themselves after breaking in ways they never expected. They reshape their understanding when life forces them to confront truths they once avoided. Meaning doesn't come from the world, it comes from the human ability to keep creating it. We soften where reality is sharp. We search for clarity in places where confusion once controlled us. Existence rarely offers explanations, yet humans somehow manage to build their own. You weren't given a simple world, you were handed a complicated one. A world full of contradictions, uncertainty, noise, and unexpected turns. Making sense of that complexity becomes the lifelong journey every person must face, whether they chose the journey or not. If what you heard today resonated with you, if it made you think, question, or reflect, then like the video and subscribe, because there is more truth coming, more depth, more raw honesty. And before you go, share your thoughts in the comments. Tell me what you think about bringing someone into this world. I want to hear your perspective, your truth, your experience. And if you want to go deeper into this conversation, I've selected another video for you. You were born to die. Everything in between is just distraction. It explains the core idea behind existence, why consciousness feels heavy, why time slips through your fingers, and why humans chase meaning inside a life that never came with guidelines. Open it only if you're willing to see what most people avoid.